VoyMonk video voice vlog. It's Thursday. Friday is right around the corner. And man, I really surprised myself this week talking about sports. You know, one of the examples I kind of like to give in terms of, I do like sports, and I did talk about some things about what I like about sports. And I'll probably do Friday's vlog, capping out the rest of the week as far as I don't think it's good. It's probably not going to go 15 minutes if I'm lucky as far as sports are concerned, because there are some things I like to say that don't fit maybe quite in the vlogs during the Monday through Thursday. But anyways, one of the things I cite as an example, if ever asked, or, conversations I've had as far as sports, and I think ultimately it has to do with the expectation, the ideas versus the reality. But one of the things is that when I watch a game, I don't really like to see a closeout. I don't like to see a landslide win. I want to see competition. I like to know that if there's a genuine, rivalry or something that's going on, that there's really something, meaning meat on the bone for, what is that I would say is exciting about the competition itself. But I would say one of the things I too often see is that there's really this expectation to a degree that it's better to be never losing, right? To be perfect, right? Like I've talked about that in terms in general, but to never lose, to never, have an off game or whatever. And then sometimes the anticipation that goes along with that is just that, if you play the game, if you don't have the expectation or the understanding that doing so means you can lose regardless to statistics, regardless of the chances, regardless of things that are made up, it is simply a part and a fact of life, especially in sports. And when I say I like about sports is actually, at least in the past, that was kind of a thing that was a bit understood. Of course you're disheartened and sad if your team loses and they put everything the best forward that they can. But the truth of the matter is that, what if they win and they don't do it with any effort? Because everybody on the team has stacked so well as far as their talent, and the players have just somehow find a loophole where all of them can be under a salary cap, and, it's just a win button. I'm not necessarily sure who gets anything out of that other than the people that are selling the T-shirts or promoting it in a Campbell's soup ad. I don't get that. I mean, the fact is that if I'm watching a sport, I want to actually see some real competition. I want to see real things happening. And I'm not saying that it's rigged because my team didn't win or anything like that. I think that's a sad reality in terms of some things too. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But like I said, I would say that my biggest contention, and I'm not even saying that I have a bone to pick, but there's no contention. I should say, if there's a contention, is that, I would be considering in terms of what it actually means as far as if your team wins or your team's losing, what is the reason and why is that happening? And so if it isn't happening, or, it is because it's a landslide, maybe actually caring enough about the team to know or explore why that is. And sometimes I don't think that that's looked at. And I think that is why I think sometimes it loses its appeal. I think, like I said, I'm not a big sports fan or whatever, but I know sometimes people can often describe the contrast between professional sports big dollar sports and like college sports and all that kind of stuff, which I've heard and not listened to those different kind of arguments, and I don't think they mesh, and I don't really agree. I don't think it necessarily has to do with pay. I think it has to do with overall the experience and the connection that is made, and oftentimes I think that gets overlooked, maybe for what is the better in terms of the bottom line, financial, rather than anything else. So I'm going to wrap this up tomorrow. That's what I have tomorrow, right now, for this video voice vlog. So until then, take care.